Welcome to Studio 51. I'm Stephanie Sanford.
And I'm Tahira Rahman. Studio 51 is a weekly news magazine produced by Loyola University students in Chicago. We're called Studio 51 because we're located on 51 East Pearson in this beautiful street studio in downtown Chicago.
You won't want to miss a minute of our show this week. Our news summary gives you the latest rundown on gun control fight both here in Chicago and in Washington. And we have a special report from our Studio 51 reporter on homelessness.
And I'll have a special report on journalists and guns. How do reporters cover this issue? Do they know what they're talking about?
Also, our techie has the latest on the new app called Flipboard. Our resident foodie rocks out with a classic burger joint and what's a week for sports. All that and more.
But first, here's Studio 51's News Roundup with Wendy Esparza.
Thanks, Tahira. This week, a lot of news on gun control. First off, the U.S. Senate voted to open debate on the president's gun control proposals, which included expanded background checks and tighter restrictions on gun trafficking. Senate leaders on both the Republican and Democratic sides predict a couple weeks of debate before they vote on the issues. Meanwhile, here in Chicago, First Lady Michelle Obama arrived on Wednesday on an anti-violence campaign. She met with city leaders and sat down with 22 students from Harper High School who shared their stories of violence and guns, which are prevalent issues in their neighborhood. Mrs. Obama says she doesn't plan to sit on the sidelines and watch Chicago's children succumb to street violence and encouraged community involvement. Clearly, the headlines this week were all about guns and violence. While gun control legislation has become a controversial issue, another concern is this. How do reporters, journalists, cover the issue of guns? Do they do it fairly, objectively? That's the subject of this week's in-depth report from Studio 51's Tahira Rahman.
Gun violence, gangs, and gun control aren't the only controversial issues surrounding guns these days. Media coverage has also come under fire. Do journalists hold enough knowledge about these issues to be able to report fairly and accurately on them? A 3-day conference held right here at Loyola University Chicago School of Communication hoped to help local journalists address these very concerns. Gunshots, a sound many journalists have never heard before. Many of these veteran reporters were rookies when it came to handling guns, something they experienced for the first time during a day of training, part of a conference uncovering guns. The conference was a joint project of two nonprofit organizations, the Poynter Institute, dedicated to educating journalists, and the McCormick Foundation, which strives to educate, inform, and engage citizens. The Poynter Institute's Al Tompkins says the aim of the conference was to help journalists report on the gun debate with more accuracy and depth.
That's our job, is to help journalists to do their jobs better without regard to politics or ideology or any of those things.
For 3 days, reporters attended sessions exploring the different facets of the gun debate, including constitutional law, common myths, correlations with mental health, and the effects of gun violence in schools. ABC 7's Paul Meinke has been reporting for more than 25 years, but says that this conference has shown him there is still a lot to learn.
We don't even know what an assault weapon is. My brain hurts from this discussion.
Reporters even got a hands-on education. For Leah Hope, an ABC 7 news reporter for 19 years now, the experience was a new and encouraged one.
I appreciated it. I felt uncomfortable about it, but it was important that I did it.
Hope says her coverage of gun violence often focuses on its aftermath, how it affects victims, perpetrators, or the community. Using a gun, though, helped her realize something else.
I felt the impact of it. I felt the weight of it. I felt the very serious, grave nature of why we were doing this.
Now armed with more knowledge about gun issues, both Meinke and Hope say they need to show their viewers that there are no quick answers and that gun violence is a complex issue.
There are, as our last speaker just said, no simple truths to this whole thing. You have an argument on one side, you have an equally compelling argument on the other.
The issue of gun violence has been firing up the nation. The Newtown, Connecticut school shootings, as well as Chicago's record-high homicide rate last year, resulted in several Americans pushing for stronger gun control laws and harsher background checks. But many journalists, including ones here at the Chicago Tribune, say that journalists need to educate themselves more
before reporting on these important and controversial topics. For Studio 51 News, I'm Tahira Rahman.
Thanks, Tahira. Illinois now has a new congresswoman going to Washington. Former Illinois State Representative Robin Kelly easily captured Tuesday's special election to replace former U.S. Representative Jesse Jackson Jr. Kelly focused heavily on anti-gun efforts during her campaign and vowed on Tuesday to fight for federal gun control legislation. You may recall, last month city officials announced a new 7-year plan to fight homelessness in Chicago. According to the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless, close to 105,000 people did not have a home last year. But can Chicago really end homelessness? Our Studio 51's Stephanie Skelnick shows us one organization who is trying.
Chicago has gang and violence issues that often control the headlines. But there is another issue in the city: homelessness. Thousands of people go homeless each month, and the city is trying to put an end to it. That's why organizations like the Franciscan Outreach Association are so important. Their soup kitchen, called the Marquardt Center, offers a dinner service every day for those that are hungry.
We have dinner, which we serve every night, and then we also have lunch. But we also provide other services such as showers on Mondays and Fridays and laundry services 4 days out of the week.
The Marquardt Center not only feeds the homeless, but also tries to help them get back on their feet.
It's stable. They have, the ability for people to get showers. I've sat here and created artwork. I've talked to an attorney. They've helped me in many ways.
Their case management program helps men and women get IDs, helps with substance abuse issues, and tries to get them established.
To provide case management services on the second floor, and they help our guests deal with mental health issues or with housing or addiction issues.
And while guests do enjoy a warm meal and counseling, they also appreciate all the other services Franciscan offers.
They did my laundry. I'm wearing their clean clothes just today. They're anchor in an unfathomable world.
Along with offering a soup kitchen and a case management program, the Franciscan Outreach also offers a day program and 2 overnight shelters where men, women, and children can go. For Studio 51 News, I'm Stephanie Skelnick.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that report. And finally, coffee lovers beware. Caribou Coffee will be leaving Chicago and the state of Illinois. The Minneapolis-based company is closing 80 locations nationwide. Some Caribou coffee shops will remain open, but will be rebranded as Pete's Coffee Shops. This has been your News Roundup. I'm Wendy Esparza.
Another big story right here on Loyola's campus this week. My co-anchor, Tahira Rahman, wears another hat. She's the editor-in-chief of The Phoenix. Tahira, you and the copy editor, Caitlin Wilson, will tell us more about this later in the show.
That's right, Stephanie. For now, let's go to Studio 51's Health Beat reporter, Caitlin McMurray, for the latest.
There's some startling information on preemies. According to a federal agency called the Office for Human Research Protections, thousands of families were not notified about a possible research risk involving their infants in a federally funded study. The agency says those risks included blindness and death. 23 universities took part in this study, including Stanford, Duke, and Yale. The studies conducted research on 1,300 premature babies. President Obama plans to improve the mental health system. On Wednesday, the president asked for $235 million to fund various mental health initiatives. Some of the funds would help teachers identify early warning signs of mental instability and would also hire more mental health professionals. These initiatives followed the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting that killed 27 people last December. And another note, eating walnuts could reduce your risk of getting type 2 diabetes. According to the study in the Journal of Nutrition, walnuts are high in omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, both of which may prevent the disease. The study found that women who ate walnuts tended to weigh less and exercise more than those who didn't, and also were less likely to be diagnosed with diabetes. This has been your Health Beat report for Studio 51. I'm Caitlin McMurray.
Thanks, Caitlin. Coming up after the break, we've got our resident foodie and resident techie.
Hi, I'm Penny Nelson, and I just got back from hanging out with my favorite couple, Mark and Steven. They are so cute. I can definitely see them getting married one day. But wait, they can't. Because same-sex marriage isn't legalized in the great state of Illinois. Only 9 states have legalized same-sex marriage, and Illinois can become the 10th if the House of Representatives passes it. What? You can't picture a same-sex couple? Thanks. Well, here is a photo album of Mark and Steven. Here's them going to dinner, and here's them at the movies. Did you know that same-sex marriage brings financial gain to state and local governments in the forms of marriage licenses and higher income taxes? That means one thing. Money! But what if one of them got sick? They need the same benefits as heterosexual couples. In conclusion, my friends and I would love it if same-sex marriage was legalized. We hope you have the same understanding.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. As we said, it's a controversial spot. What do you think? We want to hear from you and this topic or other issues on our show. You can contact us at studio51news@gmail.com or you can tweet us at Studio51News.
Speaking of social media, in a newer segment, our techie has a scoop on a new app in his Tech Talk. Jason, take it away.
Thanks, ladies. This week we've got another great app for you to check out, and if you're a social media addict or news junkie, you'll want to pay close attention. It's called Flipboard, and it's a great way to keep tabs on everything you look at on the internet. For example, let's say you want to monitor your Facebook and Twitter statuses, but you don't want to move from app to app. All you have to do is slide your finger to the left of the screen and type in your login info. But don't worry, there's also support for Google+, Flickr, LinkedIn, and even SoundCloud. But suppose you're into all things tech like I am. Go back to the content screen and click on the tech category like right here. Scroll down and you'll find all of the latest and greatest tech websites. Just click the empty box next to the page you want to subscribe to. And there's plenty of other websites for news, sports, music, and everything else you're into. Everything you'll subscribe will show up on the home screen, so once you've subscribed to what you want, just click on a tile and flip away. Flipboard is available for both free on the App Store and the Google Play Store. And as always, if there's new technology you want featured on the show, drop us a line at studio51news@gmail.com. And that's Tech Talk for Studio 51. I'm Jason Weeder.
Thanks, Jason. Let's get to sports now. Did you hear about the goat's head being delivered to the Cubs owner?
I did not. That sounds like a Godfather story. What's it about?
Well, the package was addressed to the Cubs owner, Tom Ricketts. Officials at Wrigley Field picked up the package, and it was a goat head. Let's hear more from Katie Knuckles in Sports in 51 Seconds.
Thank you to Hera and Stephanie. Yes, Stephanie, it is believed to be part of the Cubs' curse, but all in all, an exciting week across the country for baseball fans. We are officially in season. Fortunately for the Cubs fans, though, the season is not off to a good start. Chicago Cubs had their opening day game Monday with a loss. Their home game this week was postponed due to the rain, but it ended up not even raining during the scheduled game time. Maybe a little drizzle, but nothing that should have stopped America's favorite pastime from continuing on, and they canceled it before it even started. This rarely happens. They normally open the gates, let people in, let them spend some money, and then postpone the game. Let's play some ball, Cubs, and get the season on the road. As most of you avid sports fans already know, Louisville took the NCAA Men's Championship again against Michigan Monday night. For those of you, which is probably most of you, who had no idea who won the NCAA Women's Championship Tuesday, UConn beat Louisville by over 30 points. With the amount of talk about the men's win, you wouldn't even know there was a women's team playing. The Chicago Tribune ran the women's win on page 5, and it wasn't even in the Chicago Sun-Times. That buzzer probably saved me on what could have been a pretty lengthy rant. That's all for Sports in 51 Seconds. I'm Katie Knuckles. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Katie. Our resident foodie, Kristen Immel, was also in Wrigleyville this week, not talking about goats, but burgers. What do you have for us, Kristen?
Well, the Cubs were busy this week testing their home opening series. I traveled to Wrigleyville with a test of my own, to test my taste buds. Wrigleyville has a slew of driving options. I chose the Rocket Burger Bar, located just blocks away from Wrigley Field. Rocket hopes to knock it out of the park with their specialty burgers. I myself got the namesake burger with Wagyu Kobe beef, melted brie, fried shallots, medjool date aioli on top of a red onion brioche bun. Have no idea what any of that is? Just take my word for it and try it out. I ordered my burger medium well, and it was grilled to perfection. My only complaint was the burger was at times the seasoning of onions and garlic was pretty overpowering. So if you're ordering this burger on a date, make sure you bring a breath mint. With my order, I got truffle fries, which was in truffle oil and parsley, which made the ordinary fries memorable. I also ordered turkey chili, which turned out to be everything a good chili should be, warm and spicy. The delivery was snappy and the staff friendly, even if you aren't cheering for the home team. However, some items seem to be overpriced, including my own burgers, priced at $19. But I do admit, you pay for what you get. The large portions have me taking half my meal home with me. Not a big burger fan? Don't worry, the menu has other options like flatbread pizza. Rocket prides themselves in their quick delivery, so kick back and watch the game on one of the many televisions while enjoying a refreshing beer. If you do go there on game day, be ready for a pretty raucous crowd, but an experience you won't forget. For Studio 51, I'm your foodie, Kristen Immel.
Thanks, Kristen. Coming up, we talk more about this Loyola Phoenix disclaimer.
Also coming up, we take a look at our weekend forecast with Mary Sugden.
You're young. You're in college. We get it. You're gonna drink. But how much? Be smart. Think when you drink.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Is this the Phoenix Loyola student newspaper?
Yes.
I'm near your headquarters. Mind if I drop in?
Absolutely. Our offices are in the basement of the CFSU.
Yikes.
Where are you?
Phoenix? Arizona?
You know, becoming a part of the Phoenix isn't that difficult. It's actually quite easy. Give us a call, shoot us an email. Who knows? You might even win yourself one of these bad boys. Could change your life.
Welcome back. As we mentioned, this made big waves around campus this week. My co-anchor Tahera Rahman is the editor-in-chief of the Loyola Phoenix. In fact, our own Studio 51 reporter Caitlin Wilson also works for the Phoenix as a copy editor. What's this issue and this message all about? Studio 51's Sean Keenan finds out.
Big changes announced this week at the Loyola Phoenix, and joining me today from the Phoenix, we have Caitlin Wilson, and we also have Tahera Rahman. So Tahera, let's start with you. Tell us, what's going on over there at the Phoenix?
Well, Sean, there are a few big changes coming to the Phoenix. Among them is a location change from our Lakeshore campus to the Water Tower campus. And so that is one of the changes. And what the bigger issue actually here is the fact that we weren't informed about this or included in the discussions. And so we wrote a column about it, and that's what you see on the front page.
And Caitlin, could you tell us what was the response of the Phoenix staff to these changes?
Well, I think we're interested in seeing how they'll turn out, but I think we were really concerned that we weren't included in the decision-making process. That's the biggest issue.
Okay, and Tahera, does this really make a difference where the Phoenix is housed on campus?
There are a few issues with that, chief among them being a security issue. The Phoenix staff members, as much as we'd love to get out as early as possible, sometimes we don't until past midnight, 1, 2, sometimes even 3 in the morning. So if you think about it, most of the students live at the Lakeshore campus, and commuting 20 to 30 minutes in the middle of the night just isn't safe. And going off of that, most of the students are located at the Lakeshore campus, and that's who we report for. And that's our population, so we'd like to be there.
Okay, and then Caitlin, let's move it to the student body. What has the reaction been like on the campus to this very bold cover story?
Yeah, it is bold, and I think it's sparked a conversation, definitely among the students. People have definitely been talking about it, and I think a lot of people have been really supportive and hope that the students can have a voice at the Phoenix. And I think other students are really confused about what this means for student organizations.
I see. Well, I do appreciate your time and all the information. And again, you can still pick up your free copy every Wednesday of the Loyola Phoenix on campus here. You can visit the Loyola Phoenix online at www.loyolaphoenix.com. Send it back to the desk. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Interesting development with the Phoenix. Let us know what you think. Email us at studio51news@gmail.com. Let's take a look at the weather now. It's been looking pretty yucky out. Is it going to get any better this weekend? Here's Mary Sugden with the weekend weather forecast.
Thanks, Stephanie. Well, we all know Chicago weather has a mind of its own, but good news. Well, there's a chance that we'll be hitting 60 degrees by the end of this weekend. Let's take a look. Well, today we've got a high in the 47. It's a little cloudy with a low of 33. Now there's a chance for some showers later in the day, so don't forget that umbrella. And so now moving into Saturday, we've got another 47 day. Should be partly cloudy with temperatures reaching 47 high, low of 35. Now there's a chance of precipitation, but it's much lower than the days before, so you should be able to leave that umbrella at home. And finally, looking at Sunday, we'll have highs in the 65. It should feel good at those chillier days that we've been having. Low temperatures will be around 53. Now there's a chance for some morning cloud coverage, but that should give way to some sun later in the afternoon. So Chicago, get outside if you can this Sunday and enjoy what will hopefully be a beautiful 60-degree day. For Studio 51, I'm Mary Sugden. Back to you ladies at the desk.
Thanks, Mary. This has been a long, dreary week. It's nice to see there's sunshine in the forecast. I'll be looking forward to that.
So will I. Join us next week. I'm Stephanie Sanford.
And I'm Tahira Rahman. Have a great weekend.